Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to part two of the interview with the hip hop group Mindful MCs. Last week, we got to know a little bit about the moving stories of the five-member hip hop group Mindful MCs, and I hope you loved their stories. This week, we will continue with the interview, and I hope you will enjoy it. So, our next question is so, what resources would you guys say were helpful um, to help you overcome? Maybe you can just list some things that um, I know some of you mentioned it in your story, but maybe outside of music, like maybe, I don't know, peer support, whatever, some other things that were helpful to help you guys overcome, whether it's journaling, I don't know. So we start with Jamie. Maybe one thing you can say. So that way we get everybody.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a whole list. I have a list here. I guess just something that's coming to mind is like feeling my feelings. Like
Yeah.
um expression is the opposite of depression. So it's just like I'm gonna feel what I need to feel so I don't get depressed.
Mhm.
Like sitting with that discomfort and the pain and the grief and just being with it instead of like hiding it and tucking it in, internalizing it.
That's good. That's good. And Jamal?
Yeah, for me, it's actually the biggest thing I can say is having not just having the support of close friends and family, but actually listening to them for once. I consider this the final leg of my race in terms of my mental health. I think that I've overcome basically the last hurdle, and what that last hurdle is listening to people when they give you compliments, receiving a hug when someone gives you a hug,
Mm-hmm.
uh, viewing other people in the world as your equals, things like that, like where you realize, oh crap, this random old man on the street can help me become better. Because if you start, there was a slogan in my public school. It takes a village to raise a child. And I
Yeah.
believe that. And to me, the whole world is my village. So I respect people. And maybe sometimes if they're giving me bad energy, I might have to get them to look in the mirror, but there's no way I would hurt a fly at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just trusting other people that have my best intentions that has really done more than any medication.
Amazing. Okay. And Brian, bravo.
um, so for me, I think I like that's I love listening to everyone, by the way. Um, for me, I think it would be the outings in these CMHAs. We'd have these outings where we get like the groups of outpatients and stuff, and we'd go like for a walk to maybe downtown or something, or we'd go to the park or something like that. And I don't know, it was very meaningful to me because it was a place where I would most likely just stay there very awkwardly and be like, hi. But then I started like warming up and I started like learning how to communicate and be like, What's up?" Like, "What's good?" And I think that was part of for me, like communicating and getting to know other people and getting out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these outings were amazing because I eventually became an outing coordinator too, and when I was at CMHA. So
Mm-hmm.
then it was kind of like my role to like talk to others and like make sure they were comfortable. So I brought that discomfort within me and like try to make other people feel comfortable, which was pretty cool.
Awesome. And ET?
Yeah, for me, what was the question again? Sorry.
Just some resources on what you had to do to overcome different things that were helpful. Maybe just one thing that you thought was
All
helpful.
right. Yeah, for me, I guess like it's been like learning to be more kind to myself and
Yeah.
learning to love myself more instead of be so harsh on myself and being so mean on myself. Like honestly, like I'm still getting better at that. Like I'm still learning
Yes.
to I'm still going through the process, but I feel like I've come a long way in that process. I feel like because I used to be really pessimistic and like really negative,
Mm-hmm.
and it used to really affect my mental health and my mood. So I now like I like I feel like I'm more positive, I'm more optimistic in the way I think and the way I see the world, you know. So for me, it's just being learning to be more kind to myself.
Okay, cool. And finally, Shael.
One thing that's helped with our
Mm-hmm.
mental health.
Yeah.
Like, right. Um, Interesting. Very
Mhm.
interesting. Okay, I think one thing that's probably helped more than anything else for me is not getting too attached to the thoughts that are in my head. And
Mhm.
I think I learned that from CBT
Yes.
because like early in my journey it was very easy for me to have a negative thought like my brother was saying, like everybody hates me, and start thinking about it more and more, and then that would become my reality and my experience. And I learn more and more when I have a thought, even if it could be good, like maybe it's like, yo, I'm the coolest kid on this earth or whatever. It's like I've been learning to like check my thoughts, like challenge them, like, wait, like, are you sure of that? Like, what's the proof? What's the proof of that? What's the evidence of that? And it's led me to be able to make more balanced decisions that aren't too extreme on the high or too extreme on the low.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And question is, why do you think it's important to share your story? Why is it important? So we'll start with Jamie.
Stories are powerful. Stories are political. Stories are us. Um, yeah, I think they help us feel connected and help us feel heard and listened to, um, and just like I think about just the history of stories, like throughout centuries and centuries of all these beautiful stories that shape the way that we live.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just like, yeah, like if someone can get something, some little nugget of positivity or insight from us sharing the the journeys that we've been on, then that's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Okay. And Jamal?
Sorry, could you repeat the question quickly? Kind of zoned out.
No problem. Why do you think it's important to share your story?
I think it's important to share your story, or even my story, I'll say, because there are others in the exact same position that I was in, and it will give them hope, like automatically to be like, wait, there's no way this guy has gone through what I've gone through. And if so, maybe I can, maybe I can get there too, right? So, but I think just stories in general are extremely important. And I'll give you an example. Even the stories in my own life, just random stories. Okay, it was a Saturday night, May 7th, and I went up to this guy and I was like, hey, can I have a bite of your hot dog or whatever? Any kind of story, that's not a real story, by the way, but any story from your life, it can be extremely impactful. You can use it as a stand-up comedy joke. You can use it as a way to inspire others. You can use it as a way to make others realize why their behavior is not good. So I think storytelling is just such an integral part of human history. It's like there's a reason that there's a reason why the human brain uses stories. And even if someone, all they do is watch movies all day, and you can judge them and be like, oh, you're a loser, all you do is watch movies. Once they come out of their cocoon, you know how much knowledge they've acquired from watching those movies. It's pretty interesting. Or reading books or anything, if you actually take those stories in, all of a sudden you can understand the structure of storytelling. Hey, I've watched 1,000 movies, I know the structure of storytelling now. Or hey, I've read 1,000 books, I know how to write a book now. So I think just stories are one of the most beautiful things in terms of growth for mankind.
Cool. And I believe it's Brian next.
Yeah, I believe that everybody's got a story.
Okay.
Like, doesn't even matter how small your story is or how large. Everybody's got something to share. And even looking at one of the biggest artists to me, like Eminem, his whole like collection of art and albums is his story, and a
Yes.
lot of people connect with it. And it could even be from his struggles from like substance abuse, or it could be like his story to recovery. um like it's a story. And then you look at other people who you might see on the street sometimes, like who seem like they have nothing, and they got a story. You look at people who are maybe wearing suits or looked up as people who have money, they got a story too. Like it doesn't even matter your social status or your how much money you got in your pocket, but everyone's got a story equally important.
Amazing. Okay. And ET?
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's important to share your story with others. Like I'll take from my own experience. Like I remember when before like I knew anything about mental health or CAMH or CMHA or any of these great programs that help people who are suffering with mental health problems or addictions. I was just like a kid. I was just like maybe like I don't know, like 15, 16. I can't remember exactly, but I was just like watching 106 in Park, and I remember it was like Mental Health Week or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like all they had just like a bunch of like these people come up like that were in the audience, and they had like special guests and stuff, and they would like come up and like share like something of like something that like a mental health story that they went through, you know, like something that they suffered through. And when I was watching that, I was just like, yo, like everything these people are talking about, like I can relate to this stuff. You know, it's like I've been through this, like I'm going through this. It's like I remember I started to like cry, and yeah, I remember that just just changed me inside. Like it kind of just like it was kind of like a shock. It was kind of like wake up, you know, like like there's help out there. You know what I'm saying? Like these people have gone through this, like they've got help. You can go through the same thing, you know. So it was just kind of like a wake up call almost for me. It was just it's like so like honestly that's why like I feel like sharing your story is really important because it could really like impact somebody else, you know.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Shael.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. I get a lot out of it. I really miss. I used to speak to high school students at CAMH for this program called BTC, and I really miss that because whenever you'd share your story, you know, you could tell the kids were getting a lot out of it, even if they didn't come to talk to you, because it's like I was the shy kid who would hear a speaker and I would never say anything to them, but what they would say would be so
Impactful.
meaningful. It's like Jamal was saying, even if one person is inspired by your story, like it's worth telling it. Um, and like, yeah, my bro knows this too. Is like we grew up in a family of storytellers. Like my grandma, my dad's like telling stories nonstop, and he's always like the entertainer at like parties. He always has these like wild stories, and he's really good at telling. I think I've kind of taken on some of his habits on, to be honest, of he kind of exaggerates like some details to make these stories more epic. I think I started doing that unconsciously, but they're really powerful. Yeah, they can change the way people think, change the way people behave. They're entertaining. They spread good vibes. So yeah, I think you should never underestimate the power of your story, even if you're like, oh man, these people's stories are so much worse or so much more intense. Like, how am I going to help people? It's like everybody's story has meaning and has value. Like everybody's story can help people. Like even Jamal was saying, even if you're just walking on the street, going to the corner store, like there's a story in there. There's a moral in that story. Like there's something that you can take from it. Like
Amazing. Stories are so important and so powerful, can change lives. So that's one thing I love about stories. So for the last thing I'll ask for each of you, what is one thing that you wish you had available when you were at your lowest point? So we start with Jamie.
Something that's coming up is just like more compassionate world.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just remember feeling a lot of shame, feeling like I had to hide, or yeah. So I just wish the world, I don't know. Yeah, we just, having more compassion for each other, and respecting one another, and no matter who you are, like, we all have value, we all deserve love. We all are enough. So
Amazing. And Jamal?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying this. I consider myself a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Christian, and tell me some more religions. I consider myself every religion.
Okay.
And throughout a lot of my life, I've preached a lot of this stuff, like the Buddha, what Christ said, what all these people said, but I preached it while I still felt like shit. Excuse my language.
That's okay.
So basically, what I wish I had had is actually God, or whatever you want to call that force of love that pervades the universe and all things, the thing that's ingrained into all matter in the cosmos and multiverse, that thing, the love, the light that allows everything to exist. I wish I had that in my heart. If I had had that in my heart through my whole life, by now I would have sculpted masterpieces. I would have ran as fast as Usain Bolt. I would have been able to do anything. And
Mhm.
I'm very grateful now that I do have that factor, because now I understand that all of my mistakes and everything I ever did was for a reason. Thanks to God, I realized that everything is going to be okay. I have power over my reality, and I love every being in the universe.
Amazing. And Brian?
Yeah. To me, I think one thing I wish I had at the lowest point was probably like the ability probably to communicate and
Mm,
to have the heart within myself sometimes to like be able to be like I can listen to your story, right? So I think having a heart is very big. Now I consider myself like an artist with a heart, right? But I feel like there's certain people in the world that you can listen to. And you're like, wow, that person, they got a big heart, you know. Like some people, they share something so impactful and so large that you know that they truly care, right? Um, so sometimes I was watching actually, I'll tell a story. One time I met Chris Hadfield, the astronaut, in
oh,
high school. I built like a rocket with my friends and a peers. It was like out of construction and it was out of cardboard and stuff, and it was cool to me. Like we spray painted it, we worked on a lot of it. It was like our piece of art. But when we showed it to him, we're like, wow, this guy's got a heart. This guy's like, he comes over here. He's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this. He comes to like give us a hug. He like takes pictures with us. And I was like, wow, this guy's been to space and
yeah.
he's here and he's like on our turf, our level.
Yes.
And this guy is just sharing who he is.
Okay.
And I don't know. To
Cool.
me, I think I wish I could
Communicate.
I think we could all get to that level one day. It's just be people with kind hearts.
Right, right. And ET?
Yeah, for me, I I I guess like it would be like I wish I had more like support around me,
Yeah.
and just more people that understood and had like knowledge of mental health and like things like that, so they could have like pointed me like in the right direction, like let's say to a hospital or something like that, or like therapy or something. And I guess like when I was at my lowest of my lows, I just wish I had more resources, I guess, more support and things like that, you know. Because like when I was going through my things, like I dropped out of high school. I didn't know what was happening, to be honest. It was just a spiral. It just happened so fast, and like even now, like my past, like it's so blurry. Like I don't remember things like fully complete. Like I remember things kind of like blurry. Like it's not complete. It's not finished. You know. So for me, yeah, in my lowest times, I guess just more support. You know, yeah, more support.
Okay. And finally, Shael.
Okay, so what I wish I had at my lowest times was the knowledge that you can be happy following your heart regardless of what other people think about you.
Yes.
I was very troubled for most of my life with thoughts about what other people thought about me. Even when I was like playing drums for 4 or 5 hours a day and I was in my zone there, the second I'd leave my home with my drums, oh no, these people are looking at you this way. They think you're not cool because you're not hanging out with these people. Oh no, you don't have the cool clothes they have. Like I was tortured with that for like the majority of my life, and it was only really in the last, I feel like 4 or 5 years, something like that, that I really fully overcame that. It's like I'm a 32-year-old rapper with green, yellow, and blue hair. I don't give up what anybody thinks right now. I'm just doing what makes me happy, and it took. I wish I had the knowledge that you could still be happy without caring what other people think when I was at my lowest.
Okay, cool. So next week, we will be talking about my favorite topic, which is music therapy. But to end off this session, we will let you listen to one of their tracks called Depression. And to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms, and don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. If you can think of one person that will receive value from today's show or connect with the Mindful MC's testimonial, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself, only Cleoni, or Resilient Minds 365, and today's guest at Mindful MCs. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, thrive, and live a life of abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleoni Crawford, and I'm signing off, and let's listen to the track Depression. Enjoy.
Expression, I'll escape from it. Take away the low, make it do the work. Pressure, what you make of it. The pressure, what you take on it. Expression, I'll escape from it. Take away the low, make it through the wall. The pressure, what you make of it. The pressure, what you take on it. Expression, I'll escape from it. Take away the low, make it through the wall.
I tell you on depression, I use expression. Focus on blessing, trauma teach lesson. Go through my essence, music my weapon, hear my confession.
Ever felt low, angry to let go, detached like Velcro. Echo, 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 that's
I felt so low, nothing to do, nowhere to go. No one was home, I was alone with emotions, drowning in notions of worries and fear, a flurry of tears. Is anyone here? Is anyone there? Does anyone love me? Anyone care? Can anyone see me behind this blank stare? Are they aware?
Retrospect, jumping jacks for just half a sec. Smash request to find happiness, ain't full effect to just walk these steps. Weeks progress, the other half I slept.
I didn't get up and I didn't give up.
Scared to be crippling alone, sitting in agony, whistling at home, thinking about the low, thinking about the regrets I load. How do you know?
So many we suffer in silence, hurting ourselves and inflicting the violence. So many we suffer alone, stay in the bed, don't pick up the phone.
Pressure, what you make of it. The pressure, what you take on it. Expression, I'll escape from it. Take away the low, make it through the wall. The pressure, what you make of it. The pressure, what you take on it. Expression, I'll escape from it. Take away the low, make it through the wall.
Some days are so freaking crazy.
Losing my mind as I'm counting the seconds and
feeling low make me lazy. laying around like I'm not in that present, cause
I just wanna go to sleep, yeah.
I don't wanna be disturbed, but
I be bored of counting sheep, and
wish I could be like the rest of the herd.
barely standing on my feet, yeah.
I need some help, but ain't nobody there.
Trying not to fall too deep,
Treading the water, I'm tired of the thirst.
Players are trauma sleep, yeah.
I need some clarity, everything blurred.
Mama might and will I leap, yeah.
Now I'ma fly like a bird.
Leave me alone, get out of my home, get out of my dome. Stuck in my head, stuck in my bed, never felt more alone. Driving, not driven, alive, not living. Fine, but not feeling. Rhymes for no reason. Is it the season or my time to go? My life I'm breathing, please heal my soul. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave, I don't wanna die. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave, I don't wanna die, no.
Expression I escape from it. Take away the low, make it through the wall.
Yo, this is MCJ Small, rapping for the Mindful MCs. This is dedicated to all the people that have depression.
One dedicated to all the depressed souls, I would say.
Be sure to love yourself, this is B Square.
Shael, there's always a brighter day ahead. Peace.
Practicing that gratitude. MC8, keeping the peace and harmony.
Depression, what you make of it. Depression, what you make of it.
Expression, I escape from it.
Make it through the walls.